Two men walk into the same dealership on the same afternoon. They earn almost identical salaries. They want the exact same car. By the time they leave, they've made two completely different financial bets, and neither of them has any idea yet which one is about to lose. Call them Jake and Marcus. Both bring in around $58,000 a year. Both have their eye on the same $32,000 sedan, same trim, same color, sitting under the same showroom lights. The only difference between them is the paperwork they're about to sign. That one decision will separate their finances by tens of thousands of dollars over the next 10 years, and almost nobody in that dealership is going to tell them that. Jake goes with a lease. 3 years, $1,500 due at signing, and a monthly payment of $339. The finance manager makes it sound effortless. Drive something new, stay under full warranty the entire time, and walk away in 3 years without a second thought. Marcus takes a different path. He finances the car with a 5-year auto loan, puts $2,000 down, and locks in a rate around 7%, which is fairly typical right now for a well-qualified buyer. His monthly payment, $594. That's a gap of $255 every single month. Marcus feels that difference immediately, every time the payment leaves his account. Jake doesn't feel much of anything, and for a while it looks like Jake made the obviously smarter call. Here's what neither of them is thinking about on day one. A lease and a loan aren't just two different ways to pay for the same car. They're two entirely different financial relationships with that car. One man is slowly buying a depreciating asset. The other is renting the use of one. That distinction is invisible for the first few months. It is exactly what decides who wins by the end. Jake's first year is smooth. Anything mechanical that goes wrong is someone else's problem, because the car is still under full manufacturer coverage. His costs are predictable. Lease payment, insurance, gas, nothing else. Marcus's first year looks rougher on paper. New vehicles can lose close to a third of their value within the first 12 months once you count the instant hit that comes just from driving off the lot. That $32,000 car might realistically be worth around $22,000 after 1 year. Meanwhile, Marcus still owes close to $24,800 on his loan. That means his car is worth roughly $2,800 less than what he owes on it. In lending terms, he's underwater. Psychologically, that number stings, and every friend who hears about it tells Marcus he got the bad end of the deal. But being underwater on a car loan and losing the financial race are not the same thing. And that's exactly the part the monthly payment conversation always leaves out. I'm John, and if breakdowns like this one, the kind that actually run the math instead of repeating whatever financial folklore gets passed around, are useful to you, subscribing is what keeps this channel making them. Fast forward to the 3-year mark, right as Jake's lease comes due. Add up what each man has genuinely spent. Jake, $1,500 down plus 36 payments of $339 for a total of $13,704. Marcus, $2,000 down plus 36 payments of $594 for a total of $23,384. Jake has spent about $9,680 less. Stop the story here, and Jake wins by a landslide. Everyone at the cookout would agree with him. But 3 years is also the exact moment Marcus's loan balance and his car's value quietly cross paths. His remaining balance has dropped to roughly $13,300. His car, even after losing close to half its original value, is worth an estimated $17,000. For the first time, Marcus has equity, real, positive equity, somewhere around $3,700. Jake is standing in the same spot he stood in 3 years earlier. His lease is up, and the dealer hands him 3 doors. Buy the car outright at its preset residual value, hand back the keys and owe nothing further, or sign a new lease and reset the clock. Roughly 4 out of every 5 lessees pick door 3. So does Jake. This is where leasing and buying actually diverge, and it has nothing to do with the size of either monthly payment. A lease resets. A loan counts down. Jake is back at month 1 of a brand new 3-year term. New down payment, new mileage counter ticking towards 0. Marcus still has payments ahead of him, but every one of them is shrinking a debt that eventually hits 0 and stays there. By year 5, that's exactly what happens. Marcus makes his final loan payment. The title shows up in the mail. From that point on, his only car-related costs are insurance, gas, and maintenance. No financing charge riding along with any of it. Jake, now on his second lease, is still writing a $339 check every month. And by this point, it barely registers. That may be the most dangerous part of leasing long-term. It quietly turns a permanent car payment into background noise long after it's cost more than most people ever budgeted for. Add one more year of ownership on top of that, and by year 6, the scoreboard reads like this. Jake has now completed 2 full lease cycles, roughly $27,400 total, and he owns none of it. Marcus has paid off his loan entirely, about $37,640 across 5 years, plus around $1,200 in year 6 maintenance, putting his running total near $38,840. But he also owns a car worth an estimated $14,000. Net that against what he's spent, and Marcus's real cost so far sits closer to $24,800. Jake's real cost, since he has nothing to show for it, is the full $27,400. The lead has flipped, and from here it keeps widening. None of this means leasing is a bad deal or that financing is automatically the smart move. Both sides carry costs that rarely make it into the sales pitch. On the leasing side, mileage caps are the big one. Most leases limit you to somewhere between 10,000 and 12,000 miles a year, but the average American driver logs closer to 13,500. Go over, and you're typically billed 15 to 25 cents per mile at turn-in, which on a modest overage can mean an unexpected bill in the $500 to $1,000 range, due the same day you hand back the keys. Add wear and tear charges that the leasing company defines, not you, plus a disposition fee of $300 to $500 just to process the car's return, and the simple lease stops looking quite so simple. Buying carries its own hidden costs. Once the factory warranty expires, usually around year 3 or 4, every repair bill lands squarely on the owner. Brakes, belts, an air conditioning compressor that fails on the hottest week of the summer. On an average sedan, that can realistically run $1,000 to $1,800 a year once you're past warranty. And depreciation doesn't stop just because the loan does. It simply slows down, which is actually good news for anyone willing to hold on to a car well past the point most people trade theirs in. Stretch this out across 10 years and the pattern compounds. Jake has now cycled through roughly 3 separate leases, and once mileage overages and disposition fees are factored in along the way, his total spend lands somewhere near $45,000, and he still doesn't own a car outright. Marcus has spent about $37,640 on the loan itself, plus an estimated $9,000 to $10,000 in maintenance across his years of ownership after the warranty ran out, putting his total near $47,000. But his car, even a decade old, is still worth something. Call it $5,000 to $6,000. Net that out, and Marcus's effective 10-year cost lands around $41,000, with a fully paid-off car sitting in his driveway. Jake's $45,000 bought him nothing he can point to. None of this makes leasing indefensible, though. There are real situations where it's the smarter financial move. If you're self-employed or run a business, lease payments can often be written off in ways a purchase can't match, and that tax treatment alone can close this entire gap or flip it in leasing's favor. If the car in question is a luxury vehicle where a single out-of-warranty repair can run into the thousands, staying under factory coverage permanently has genuine dollar value. And if you're disciplined enough to actually take that $255 a month difference and put it to work, not let it disappear into everyday spending, but genuinely direct it toward long-term investing, something like a diversified index fund averaging 8 to 10% a year, the opportunity cost math can tilt back in Jake's favor over a long enough timeline. The honest question is whether that money would really get invested or just get spent. Jake and Marcus both believed they'd made the smart call the day they signed their paperwork. Jake thought he was protecting his cash flow. Marcus thought he was building something. Neither of them ran the numbers past the first year. And that's how most car buying mistakes actually happen, not from bad math. From no math at all. The real lesson isn't that buying always beats leasing, or that leasing is some kind of trap. It's that any decision built around $30,000, made off a single monthly number without ever asking what it costs across 5 years or 10, is a coin flip wearing the costume of a smart money decision. Personal finance rewards the people who look past the payment and toward the total. So the next time a number gets slid across a desk and it sounds almost too easy, ask the only question that actually decides who wins. What does this cost you once the whole story finally plays out?